all as well as you are taking this in. We'll continue on our journey through 2nd Baruch. We're picking up in chapter 24. Verse 1. For behold, the days come, and the book shall be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned, and again also the treasuries in which the righteousness of all those who have been righteous in creation is gathered. Verse 2. For it shall come to pass at that time, you shall see, in the many that are with you, the long suffering of the Most High, which has been throughout all generations, who has been long suffering towards all who are born, alike those who sin and those who are righteous. And I answered and said, But behold, O Lord, no one knows the number of those things which have passed, nor yet of those things which are to come. Verse 4. For I know indeed that which has befallen us, but what will happen to our enemies I know not, and when you will visit your works. In chapter 24, the Most High seems to be trying to explain to Baruch that we feel like what we go through and the patience that we have to endure the situations that we experience is something. It's something big. We think that that's long suffering. We think that we are disciplining ourselves to really endure against things. But the Most High tells Baruch that you and all that are with you shall see the long suffering of me. You think what you're going through is a lot. I've been suffering for all the generations. Chapter 25, verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, You too shall be preserved till that sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of the days. This therefore shall be the sign. When a stupor, or when a sleep, shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations. And again, when they shall fall into great torments, and it will come to pass, when they say in their thoughts by reason of their tribulation, the Mighty One doeth no longer remember the earth. Yes, it will come to pass when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake. To me, it seemed like we have been in the stupor for a little while now. And the tribulations are also presently happening, but the torments could be coming. I'm not sure exactly how the tribulations and the torments are, differentiated. But I definitely see a few quote unquote torments that could be on the horizon, which is hunger. The biggest one is a food shortage, or a perceived food shortage. And as far as the tribulations, people are already facing the effects of their decisions. A lot of people are getting hit by quote unquote karma. I think it's just the Most High putting them in situations, and people are not making the correct decisions to navigate them accurately because they aren't weighing it through the scope of the Most High. That's not their scale that they're using to balance. They're not seeing it from that lens, so people are stumbling. The Most High is the only God. Chapter 26. And I answered and said, Will that tribulation which is to be continue a long time? And will that necessity embrace many years? Chapter 27. And he answered and said unto me, Into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part, there shall be the beginning of commotions, and in the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones. And in the third part, the fall of many by death. Verse 5. And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword. And in the fifth part, famine, and the withholding of rain. And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. Verse 8 just says wanting, meaning that people will just be in a state of wanting, that is not even specifying what it is that they want. They may not even know what they want, but they're it's almost an insatiable state of wanting. Verse 9. And in the eighth part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the shittim. Specters are like ghosts, spirits. Shittim, I believe, are a type of, look that up, shittim, Sheddim. And in the ninth part, the fall of fire. Verse 11. And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity. Are we there? The wickedness is definitely coming to be pretty full. Chastity is foreign to this world today. It's a myth. Verse 13. And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid. For these parts of that time are reserved, and shall be mingled one with another, and minister one to another. For some shall leave out some of their own, and receive in its stead from others, and some complete their own, and that of others. So that those may not understand, who are upon the earth in those days, that this is the consummation of the times. It's the end of chapter 27. So I know it was kind of confusing. At least for me, it was the end. But what it was saying was that the very last part will be a mingling together of all the aforementioned parts. But people will have confused the doctrines and confused the history and confused basically our perception of what reality is, so much to the point that the people who are upon the earth will not understand that we are in the consummation of the times. We are presently in the consummation of the times because we are in that time where everything else that I mentioned is being intermingled. But let's continue. Chapter 28. Nevertheless, whoever understands shall then be wise. For the measure and reckoning of that time are 2 parts of a week of 7 weeks. A week of 7 weeks is basically a jubilee. 7 times 7. A jubilee, that 50th year is the jubilee year, but you don't count the 50. You actually go back to 1, or you have your break in between, because your jubilee is like the whole year. The jubilee year is basically a Sabbath. Verse 3. And I answered and said, it is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come, lest he fall. Verse 4. But I will say this also, will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible? And whatever befalls in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible? Verse 6. But if, O Lord, those things shall assuredly come to pass which you have foretold me, so do you show this also unto me, if I indeed have found grace in your sight. Verse 7. Is it in one place, or in one of the parts of the earth, that those things are to come to pass? Or will the whole earth experience them? It's the end of chapter 28. In verse 3, what was said is, it is good for a man to come and behold, but it is better that he should not come, lest he fall. Which means that it's good for someone to experience, but not at the risk of them falling off from the experience. Like, it's only good to experience if you are at a place where you can healthily take something in and keep moving on your path. But then he continued on to say, he who is incorruptible will despise those things which are corruptible. Meaning, the people who are truly focused on the Most High, they're going to despise anything that's not that. And the things and whatever happens to anything that's not focused on the Most High. So if you focus on the Most High, it's basically tribing up. You tribe. I'm not worried about the corruptible things. I'm not worried about anything that's not worried about the Creator. Period. Chapter 29, verse 1. And he answered and said unto me, whatever will then befall the whole earth. Therefore, all who live will experience them. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those selfsame days in this land. And it shall come to pass when all is accomplished that was to come to pass in those parts, that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed. When Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea, those two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation, and shall have kept until that time, and then shall be for food for all that are left. Verse 5. The earth also shall yield its fruit 10,000-fold on each vine. There shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape produce a core of wine. And those who have hungered shall rejoice. Moreover, also they shall behold marvels every day. For winds shall go forth from before me to bring every morning the fragrance of aromatic fruits. And at the close of the day, clouds distilling the dew of health. And it shall come to pass at that selfsame time that the treasury of manna shall again descend from on high, and they will eat of it in those years. Because these are they who have come to the consummation of time. Chapter 30. And it shall come to pass after these things, when the time of the advent of the Messiah is fulfilled, and he shall return in glory. That's the end of chapter 30. Going back up to chapter 29. The Most High began to tell Baruch how things will be after everything has happened. These things will befall the entire earth, and only the people in whatever land Baruch was in at that time will be protected. And so after all of those things have come to pass, at that time, now the Messiah will begin to be revealed. And I honestly feel like the Messiah is beginning to be revealed with this Who is Prester John search over at 432.com. But we won't actually see the Messiah return, according to this, until after Behemoth comes out and Leviathan is revealed. And then it talks about how the earth will begin to give us her fruits back. We'll begin to actually smell the aromatic scents coming directly from the Creator. But again, this is in the same land that Baruch was in. All the research of this incredible research team that is Drop Nation is pointing to the lands being right here. And these same lands will be protected during this time. And those same people are the people who made it to the consummation of the times, if you are protected during those times in these lands, for you to see the Behemoth and Leviathan, and to see the earth give her fruits back, where a cluster is yielding thousands upon thousands upon thousands, and one grape is given an entire quart of wine. We can't even wrap our heads around these concepts. But this is reality.